Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening. 60 minutes of football fun and banter with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV. Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble.
Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow and join in now.
This is your host, Chris.
No! God, please, no! No!
I know, I'm sorry, but he's cheap and available.
How rude.
Right, Chris.
All right, guys, very cheap, very available, ladies. Just in case you're watching. How the devil are you all? Once again, a happy new year to you. If it's your first time of tuning in, this is question time. This is your show where you set the agenda. If needed, we start off with one question ourselves, and then we just basically, wherever the show goes, wherever you take us from the questions that you can ask in the comments about Leicester City. A couple of things just to announce. This is coming up soon. It's a new quiz. Who wants to be a football heir? Not footballer, a football heir. It's a new quiz. Unfortunately, it's only points you get. And of course, they don't make prizes on Leicester Till I Die. And you don't get £1 million, but you do get 1 million points, which are slightly, how can I say, not quite as valuable as 1,000 nectar points. Which is worth about 2p, I think. So, hey, it's coming up soon. We're just putting the finishing touches to it, trying to work out if it is feasible. And we're going to do that. And, of course, returning soon is the home and away quiz as well. But I also want to say a big, huge thank you. Unbelievable, this. I updated and was checking checking my bits, as you do. New Year resolution, check your bits. And I found out this is how many podcasts were downloaded last year that's the whole year, on Leicester Till I Die podcasts. 42,172. That's like 155 a day. That is just unreal. Most shows that we do here live on Leicester Till I Die TV are converted into podcasts straight after and are uploaded. You've probably be seeing the links. Not all, the watch-alongs, and if it's very much like a shirt show or something that is visual, we can't. But we upload most of our content to podcasts. But within 12 months to get over 42,000 downloads, and just literally, guys, thank you. That's all I can say. I'm just going to say as well, and please don't read anything into the fact that I've got these next to my computer, but I've got a box of tissues here, and it is available for any Newcastle fan or any Arsenal fan that wishes to borrow them, because I've noticed already, certainly Newcastle fans starting to cream themselves once the transfer window opens, that they're going to get Youri Tielemans. I think this is the third transfer window that Arsenal fans have been creaming themselves and been putting Tielemans' head onto an Arsenal shirt. I don't know what it is with Leicester players and Arsenal, but Vardy didn't want to come. Maddison, he didn't come, did he? And now Tielemans, keep keep wanking, guys, because that's probably about as close. If he was going to come, he would come. And don't get me wrong, he will move on. He will move on. Now, whether that could well be to Arsenal, the top of the league. They're doing very well, and congratulations to them. I think they'll probably win it this season. Same with Newcastle as well. What a fantastic turnaround for them. Obviously, new owners, the money, we know how that works. It worked for us. Look, just say, yeah, you want James Maddison, you want Yuri Tielemans. But what annoys me, and I've said this before, and it isn't every fan, obviously, but what gets me is the entitled fans. That is, well, he's going to come because we're Arsenal and you're only Leicester. And it started like that with one or two Newcastle fans as well. Please don't, become entitled. Certainly Newcastle fans, we want you to be a break from the top six and give us something fresh, not just become 6.1. Scott is in. Good evening, Scott. Hope you are well as well. Like I said there, please like and subscribe to this channel. Great host, great channel. I loved you, Scott. Always said that. Always said you're a fantastic human being. And I'm not fickle at all. And Nate is in. Good evening, Nate. Congratulations, he says, on the downloads. Thank you very much, young man. Much appreciated. Talking of young men, I couldn't find one. So instead, we're going to welcome him back regular on this show and say good afternoon or good evening and Happy New Year to Dave.
Cheeky bugger. It's been a long time, Chris, hasn't it?
Sorry, what?
It's been a long time.
It has. We had the World Cup.
Oh, what was it? Was it the World Cup, was it?
Yeah, I believe it was on.
Yeah.
And then...
Did Qatar win it, or was it... No.
Actually, no. Surprisingly, apparently that brown envelope didn't arrive at FIFA's door in time.
Damn it!
Allegedly.
You think they'd have changed the rules to suit them, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. Apparently, though, if you want to hold the World Cup, all you got to do is become a chef. And they're able to do that. Apparently.
Yeah, that was excellent, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what one of those is. But I'm guessing that's a dead version.
I think
anyway, so. boom. And then, of course, it was Christmas. And it didn't feel like Christmas this year, did it? It was very, I think, because of the build-up with the World Cup for the week before. There was just no build-up to Christmas.
No.
My bells weren't jingled this year.
It don't snow down south, does it, where we are? So
No. Well, actually, you say that. I did get a bit of snow just before Christmas. I'm going to be honest with you.
What about the weather?
It lasted about 2 years, 2 minutes, and then disappeared. But,
Indeed.
But
generally does at our age, doesn't it?
I'm going to ask you afterwards how you make it last 2 minutes, mate.
Concentration.
Think of England. So let's start this off. Can I say, guys, please get your questions in the chat, and that will form the basis of the show. To get us, let's get going again with this question. I would love to know what your thoughts are on this, Dave, because I have decided that the easiest thing for me to do is build a gate in the fence, because I'm swapping sides so often when it comes to Mr. Rodgers. I mean, last season I was prepared to stick by him and say, let's give him the new season, see how it goes. We had an awful start to the new season when I did the Rodgers, please get out of my club post for the BBC. Just in case you don't know, and I'm sure everybody does, I am a contributor to, and I've got to say contributor to the BBC website every Tuesday with the Tuesday Talking Point. And that's on the BBC website, the Leicester City homepage. So, yeah, I was saying get out of our club. Then we started to win games. We started to not let goals in. The World Cup came at a bad time, let's be honest with you. And we're back to how it was. But even when we were winning, we were beating, and it is important that we beat clubs around us, but should he go? Should he stay? Should he be given January?
I don't know. I really don't know. I started off the same way as you. I mean, I've always supported him. And I think, he's obviously done well for us.
Yeah.
But I do start to fear when you see, having watched his substitutions, his team selections, Tielemans was dropped. Was it Liverpool, wasn't it? Because he
Yeah.
needed a taller player in. I mean, come on, he's got things like Thomas marking the biggest forward in the box on corners. Was that on Fulham? I can't remember even what game it was.
And that was Fulham. I think that was
Fulham,
Fulham.
was it? Yeah. So that's never going to work. He doesn't bring a substitute on to make a difference to about the 75th, 80th. Well, 75th if you're lucky, 80th minute.
Yes.
Where I noticed Pep against Chelsea. I didn't watch the whole game, Chelsea City, but he actually brought people on around the 60, 65th minute.
Well, Brendan used to, didn't he? Because
he did. Yeah.
Point that we concede more goals. 20% of the goals we concede are from the 60th to the 90th minute. And I just think that timed in with his substitution. But now it does seem to have got back to the 70th minute. And I'm thinking, 20 minutes, if you're losing at half time, then things are going wrong. Make some changes then.
Yeah. And the injury crisis, that worries me as well, because we seem to go through that a lot. And that's happening too often. It's a bit like the Wenger days with the hamstrings. I'm getting feedback on here. Are you all right? So, what have we got? 8 players out, of which 6 are almost definite first team starters.
Somebody I read, and I don't know who wrote it. One of the journalists wrote, and hi, Rennie, how are you, sir? It said that Rodgers does not have a small squad, and you can't blame a small squad because everybody has the same size squad. What he has is a small group of players that he trusts, and I'm going to say, we saw that post in the Facebook group about Amati. But it's funny that we've got a international centre-back that is, well, in fairness to you, we built our defence around him at one point, can't get into the team, is lucky if he gets onto the substitutes bench, and yet he's wanted by one of the biggest clubs in Europe, regular quarter-finalists in Real Madrid. No, sorry, Atletico Madrid, sorry. And yet, Soyuncu, as much as I love Amati, Soyuncu to me is a better defender.
There's no doubt about that. And when he's come on, I think he's probably once. Was it the Man City? Did he play against Man City? I've forgotten all this. He did all right, Soyuncu. Nothing wrong.
He did all right. Stockport. I know it was only Stockport in the FA Cup, but him and Vestergaard did fine in that. And
Vestergaard's done one or two things wrong, hasn't he? Badly. But Amati's done a lot of things badly. Even though he's played well, just before Christmas.
Yeah. Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I missed that, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, Amati was starting to play well just before Christmas.
Yes. He'd started off on the left, which was totally wrong. Yeah. Moved him to the right, and yes, he was starting to play well, but as it's been said, we haven't been beaten a top 12 side since, I don't know how you class the top 12, but the top 12 since like March last year or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. And
you're not going to, Chris, when you defend like that against Man City at home. We should have taken them, but we defended for 75 minutes because that was the plan, and then the last 15 we murdered them. But we should have. it was frustrating as hell to watch. We could have had them. They were weak that day, but we didn't.
No. And I was prepared to give him time because none of us knew what was going on in the summer, and I do blame Top and the club for that, and Susan Whelan, that they should have sort of what they said on transfer deadline day in the Man United programme about FFP and the money situation. If they'd explained that at the start of the season, a lot of the fans would have said, fine, let's get behind the club, blah, blah, blah. However, I was prepared to give him that time, and we're just back to square one. And we are getting a hell of a lot of injuries. I mean, what is going on? Because, because he's only got that small set of players that he seems to like and trust to play, players are being rushed back. But we're getting so many injuries. Fofana, when he joined us, was surprised at the intensity of our training.
Mm. And you've got other issues as well, haven't you? I mean, Vardy, what would he put 2 or 3 away against Fulham in his good old days?
Yeah.
Didn't even look like he was going to put them away.
No.
We had some very bad decisions up front. People were saying that we've got nobody up front, but we could have had four goals at least against Fulham.
Well, I said, do we need to look at a striker in the transfer window? And I got shot down. But, Daka's not scoring. Iheanacho's not.
I mean, Iheanacho's not getting a game, is he, really?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. And Vardy, I mean, he would have scored that goal against Fulham. And it was a daisy shot that the goalkeeper easily got down to. They do say, and I've got to say, while we're talking about managers, and I apologise that I forgot to do this at the start, but RIP to Gianfranco Vialli, who passed away today.
Gianluca, yeah. So sad.
Yeah. RIP to him. But I just wonder if his time, I think every manager does have a time limit. I mean, somebody said here, Scott, it was, if we're going to do something in regards to Rodgers, it should have been before the window. Yes, it should. But then if we are doing the policy that we used to, which was we've got this setup, we've got the first window for the new transfer director, whatever you want to call him, and just let Rodgers get on with the managing. I don't suppose it matters when we get a new manager in.
Well, I think so. I think it depends what the style the manager's going to play. So you want the players to suit that style. He's not going to go unless he resigns. He's not going to go. They'll stick with him throughout the season. So I can't believe we're going to spend a lot of money either. We're not going to get a lot of money for Tielemans. Maddison, probably not either. There's no money going to come in from players. Pereira, nobody's going to pay a lot of money for him. It's just, Nate said if we're lucky, we'd have beat Liverpool. Yeah, but somebody once said in football, you make your own luck.
Yes.
And that's the problem with Leicester. We don't. We gave 2 silly goals away against Liverpool, but what was happening there? You could clearly hear the keeper shout, and yet Amati did the same. Keeper shouts keepers, then that's his job to deal with it then, not the defender. And
I know where you're coming from. The thing that gets me with that is, and I agree, Nate, we were unlucky, but how many times are we going to say, oh, we were unlucky today, oh, it was a bad day at the office? If we have that many bad days at the office, if that was a business, the office would be shut down.
Yeah.
Do we say when we get relegated at the end of the season, oh, we were unlucky? No.
Don't you think, Chris, in that last half hour, I think it was, or maybe even more, we looked really good until we got in the final third.
Oh, nothing in the final third at all.
Run out of ideas. I mean, somebody mentioned on one of your Facebook posts, Barnes is a one-trick pony. I'm having to think that now. We know what he's going to do every time he gets the ball. So defenders clearly do.
Yeah, but what gets me with people saying about Barnes, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but our top goal scorer is James Maddison. He's out. Our second goal scorer, with 1 goal behind him, is Harvey Barnes. So if we drop Harvey Barnes, like everybody says, what shit would we then be in? Because it's our second top goal scorer, because you can't rely on the strikers to do anything at the moment.
Well, Iheanacho and Vardy scored how many goals when they played together?
Exactly. Yes.
Have they played together since? I don't think they have. So what? That's what probably the first question I'd ask Brendan Rodgers. Why? You find a winning formula, and then you never do it again.
No.
Something in his head must say, no, I can't trust them to play together up front. Well, I know he doesn't play two up front, which is another mistake, I think. But that's what do I know? I just think
when you see, but you know, I mean, I've been a manager in the past, and quite often, as much as you go into your boss and go, yeah, it was my idea, quite often you've just stumbled upon it and thinking, oh, yeah, that works, I'll claim that. But that's how it works. You know, you do stumble across these things. And sometimes you look at it and you go, shit, that did work, actually. But once you find something that works, stick with it.
Yeah, that's it. That's what he doesn't do. He goes back to the old formula. And then we we have a good run. What was it, 5 games? Something like that.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the old ways and we're back to nothing again.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, all right, Newcastle are flying, but we'd expect to beat them at home. You know, we definitely expect to beat Fulham at home. And the way Liverpool are doing it, we'd want a point out of that. You know, 7 points we haven't got. And looking at the beginning of the season, Brentford home, Southampton home, look at them now. You know, these are games that we should be pissing, not, you know, throwing them away. And that's the problem.
No, but like I said, it's the way that you lose as well. And yes, you could say the performance against Fulham in the second half was decent. You know, again, in the last third against the last third of the match against Liverpool. But the matches are 90 minutes long. By the time we've gone a goal down, we can't suddenly then start playing.
No, a Newcastle game, Marty did Marty, didn't he? And that, you know, 2 goals down in God knows how many minutes, you're not going to get back from that, are you? Not really.
No, in fairness, I've got to be honest with you. I think for the first goal, Faye's played him into trouble.
The Faye's been playing everybody into trouble in the last few games.
He has. He's not.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's. But you know, like I say, when the whole team is playing badly.
When the whole team was playing badly, when he came in, he was playing well. He got them going. I hope, because he's still a young lad, I hope he's not been phased by being in the World Cup squad.
I'm sorry. Just hold it there. Hold it there, Dave. You know what you are going to get, don't you? For that one. I've just got to find it, but here we go. Even Simon Cowell can't believe you came out with that one.
I can't. The sad thing was it wasn't intended.
We are literally 2 points off the relegation zone.
Yeah.
We are 5 points off 12. So that gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next questions, we have got the FA Cup game coming up, and I want to talk, because Rennie brought that up. I want to bring that up. But do you get rid of Rodgers, or do you stick with him?
Well, I don't think it's. I think they'll stick with him.
Okay,
what I'd do, I would have got rid of him before the World Cup.
Yeah. And then if we lose to Gillingham, or if we lose to Newcastle, or if we lose to Nottingham Forest, those are our next 3 games. Are those any of those games sackable games?
No, I don't think so. Now I think he's through there. I think, you know, he's got the power, and he'll stay, and he'll promise, like he did against Forest in the Cup, we'll have a sort out in the summer.
Yes.
I mean, he shouldn't have said that. But you see, I mean, I was at Harlow that fateful year. I was at home to Wickham that fateful year. So losing to them, Gills, is not going to be a sackable thing; it'll just be a blow.
I think normally, if we're doing well, and Rennie, brought this up early, he's looking forward to the FA Cup game. I'm not, if I'm honest with you. We are playing the 92nd team out of 92 in the football pyramid, in the top, in the professional game, in the top 4 tiers. So we are playing the bottom team. They've won 2 games all season. They scored 7 goals all season. They haven't conceded many, but so if we cannot beat them, and whether we've got injuries or not, we are a Premier League side with Premier League players, with internationals that are sat on the bench. And if that's Vestergaard, is a Danish international. If that Soyuncu is a Turkish international. We should have the players to beat Gillingham.
Yeah.
But am I confident we're going to beat Gillingham? Not at all. I'm going to be watching it, from behind the sofa. Because the Gillingham manager has come out today. Neil Harris says his players will write their names in FA Cup folklore if League Two's bottom club beat Leicester City.
Yeah,
that's not another one we want, is it, on our CV?
He's sweating on his job as well, isn't he? There's a new owner just come in America. Neil Harris has got a pretty rubbish record as a manager. Great striker, but lower level. But as a manager, he did okay with Millwall. I think that's about it, isn't it? So he's got to put it out there. He's got to get the public fired up, and he's got to make it as toxic as possible for the superstars of the Premier League. But if Rodgers picks the right team, the battlers, then we'll win. I mean, do you remember? Was it a couple of 3 years ago? We were going through a bad time, and I think Gary Neville said Vardy's got to start getting nasty again, because that's what makes him such a special player. Jamie Vardy's not nasty anymore now. I haven't seen anything that tells me that he's going to put the boot in somebody, or he's going to knock them about a bit, or he's just running around like a headless chicken and clapping hands. But
we haven't got any of those sort of players, have we? We haven't got a Wes Morgan. We haven't got a Jerry Taggart. A Matt Elliott. We've not got players that will, say, come and get me if you want me, sort of thing. No Roy Keane, no midfield, general. And I just worry that, say, this is the game where, if confidence is low, and we've got Newcastle coming up. I just fear that if we lose this, I think it would be time to say goodbye to him.
Well, I do, but I mean, it's not going to happen, Chris. It would have happened by now. It would have happened after those first 5 or 6 disgraceful games that we had.
Yeah,
but it's not going to happen now. Not yet, anyway.
Scott said possibly the end of February. I mean, he didn't have any money to spend. He's got money to spend now. We're looking at a couple of players in the £5 to £8 million bracket that are going to grow, youngsters. He's got to get the whole club's got to get the January transfer window right, hasn't it? Yeah,
and I think he's got to buy an experienced centre half, because if he's not going to play the 2 centre halves we've got, Johnny Evans ain't going to be fit for a while, and if he is, he'll get injured again. I still say Marty's not a centre half, so we haven't got anybody else, have we? So surely
that's it. That's basically it at the moment. I mean, we've got Vestergaard, but we won't. Well, we haven't got players that Brendan will pick. That is the problem.
But why? Because you're paying him a decent salary. For God's sake, give him a chance. All right, he messed up a couple of times in the past, but so's Marty. And Marty keeps messing up. He gets in the team.
Yeah, it is favourites, and it is going past the where you could say, well, favourites are your preferred lineup. It's gone past that with Rodgers for me.
What I will say, Chris, with the Marty, is that I reckon if you played him in midfield, midfield's full, I know, so he plays with full, but I mean, he does lay a good through ball. If you've watched some of the balls he's played out when he does play it out and not backwards, he can thread a ball through defenders. But he just makes too many mistakes. He's a bit like Samari in midfield. Samari looks good and then messes up, and we lose a goal. A lot of the stuff comes from midfield.
Do you think which game do you think Rodgers is going to be more focused on? Newcastle, but in the quarterfinal is a quarterfinal. But let's be honest with you. If present form is to go anything like that, they're going to stuff us. or the Gillingham.
Well, if it was me, I'd make sure we got through the Gillingham game. And then, the League Cup, it'd be nice, but there's some bloody good sides left in here.
Yeah, no, that's it. It is a case of if we lose to Newcastle, you kind of go, well, look how Newcastle are doing, sort of thing. But
he's got to sort the league out because we are dangerously close. I mean, I think we've scored something like 5 or 6 more goals than Chelsea. But we've conceded more than anybody but I think Southampton.
We have conceded 31. 31 is also Leeds. 34 is Forest, 39 Bournemouth, but they had that 9, of course. 33 Southampton.
Right.
It's not looking good. Scott says here, my question to you both is, are we going to have a busy transfer window, i.e. players in and out, due to so many players having very short times on their contracts? I mean, I think he's come out and said, hasn't he, if anybody doesn't want to be here, then let them go. The problem is he'd probably have to stand and hold himself against the door to stop everybody in the team wanting to leave at the moment.
Well, there's only 2 of those players coming out of contract soon, I think, that are playing. Tielemans and is it Amarty's only got a year left after
Amarty, I think, finishes in the summer,
Yeah,
I mean, Evans, let him go. I'm sorry, why are we offering a new contract to somebody who, to be fair, is never going to play or hardly going to play?
I'd rather have him on the coaching staff and doing something like that.
Yes, I agree totally. I agree. Let's start him off with the kids. Let him work his way up through his badges. But I don't think unless we're doing it on a pay as you play sort of thing. Why are we signing somebody who spends more time in hospital? Yeah. In fairness, though, I think for me, I mean, this Victor Christiansen from Copenhagen is one that they're looking at. And he said he'd love to come to the Premier League. We've got this Ouani, this Moroccan, who apparently we were looking at before the World Cup.
Yeah.
We've got this Kutara at 80 million player. I mean,
so's all the other clubs, aren't they, in the top half of the table, apart from the top 5.
I don't think we can be looking at the 30-40 million pounds. It's a case of, do we buy one for 30 million or do we go out and buy 2 or 3 for like 10 million? It has to be the latter. And if it goes back to not letting Brendan pick and letting the team do their stuff, that we can pick some good players up. That one I was worried about because I'm thinking, he's had one good World Cup, but apparently we had been looking at him prior to the World Cup.
I'd have Harry Maguire back, for about 20 million.
Totally, I would. I said this the other day, and I did get a bit of a stick back, but I would, possibly on loan. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're not going to have to pay 80 million for him now. But he was a good player when he left us. I would, he knows the club, he knows everybody there, he knows the way we play. It was a big move for him, big wage, made captain very quickly. He was good when he left us. Man United were the team that made him bad in my eyes. England. Yes.
Good for England, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't hold any grudges against him for doing that.
No, not at all. But then again, who has been good in that Man United defence over the last couple of seasons? But no, I agree with you. Let's start a petition. Get Maguire back. If we lose Tielemans and Maddison, are the players we're looking at good enough? I mean, look, Maddison was in the Championship with Norwich, wasn't he?
I think they came up that year, didn't they?
I think they may well have done. So he was a gamble.
Yeah.
I don't think Scott. No, I wouldn't have him as captain. Would you, Dave?
No, but I don't know who I'd have.
No, I don't think. I think to bring him in if he was brought back in, and are United even thinking of that? But I don't think we can make
suppose
make them captain like that.
Dewsbury Hall, I suppose. I mean, he's be 26, 27. You know, he's a Leicester lad. I mean, why not?
Who's that? Sorry,
Dewsbury Hall.
Well, he's been called a future captain, hasn't he? You know, he's the only one that seems to show any guts sometimes. How much do we have to spend? Well, we got, what was it, 80? What did we get for Fofana? Was it 80?
80 odd, yeah.
Some of that will have had to have gone on to St Etienne, I'm sure, the site, you know.
Yeah.
Sell-on clause.
We've factored that, haven't we, with the bank?
Yeah.
So we'll have to pay them a fee.
And we've obviously spent a little bit of it on phase. So I think we've probably got about 30 odd million to spend, possibly.
It's outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah. Andrea says we will not go down. I wish I had your confidence.
I don't think we will.
There we go. Scott says, do you think Vardy has had his head turned a bit now he is co-owner to a club in the States?
I think he's just getting old.
I think he's had his head turned a lot more when he was playing for England and getting, you know, chatted up and, you know, Arsenal coming in for him. I know his team has been in trouble as in results recently, but no, I don't think he has. That's a separate project, I think. Would you agree, Dave?
Yeah, I did notice as well in the Fulham game, we were going back to the through balls a little bit more than I've noticed of late. We started to play him on a bit quicker, which is why the chances came.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that has something to do with the fact that Marco Brighton was on the pitch.
Yeah, he had a good game, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. He had I would start him against Gillingham, get a couple of goals in and get ahead. He sort of, you know, he was the one that went, well, you know, almost a case of saying, well, if we don't get the balls to Vardy, he isn't going to score. And it was like, my God, we've still got this player. Why isn't he coming on at all?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You tell me, because he's certainly better than Perez and one or two others that have played.
Although some people did say Perez man of the match against.
Yeah, well, maybe. But
it's just we don't see it often enough, do we?
No, he does some pretty good stuff, and then he makes simple errors when you've got a chance to actually create something.
Yeah.
I was thinking tonight, was it, or the other night, what would we pay to have Gray back, Damari Gray? He couldn't get a game, could he?
No, and I always liked Damari Gray. And Doug, yes, it is. It's on 12:30 tomorrow. Doing a watch along. If you want to join us, mate, for that. But we're doing a watch along from 12. It's on the BBC at 12:30. Damari Gray. I mean, I've got a mate who was a Birmingham fan that absolutely hated me when we signed him. I had great hopes for him. He would come on as a substitute and absolutely turn it on. But when he started, he seemed to like lose his way. And don't forget, I will always love him for scoring that goal against Cardiff after the chairman passed.
I had a Birmingham mate, Chris, who hated him.
Really?
When we signed him, he said he's rubbish. Why have you signed him? I think, was it 4.5 million or something? Nothing.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know why you signed him.
Like the new Bellingham or somebody like that, wasn't he, at the time? But what got me was, as much as I liked him when he came on as a sub, there were so many managers that didn't like him. It wasn't just one manager. You know, every manager seemed to sort of have the same.
He's got an attitude, hasn't he? A sort of attitude that looks glum, like Perez. Perez's hands in the air when it goes wrong, or he doesn't get the ball he wants. They're both similar characters, really.
Yeah,
can turn it on, but then don't really make it.
The daughter is in. Good evening, Heather. How are you? How was Amsterdam?
Must be on your best behaviour now.
Yes, you better be. No swearing now. The daughter's in. She's training to be a psychologist, or she is a psychologist. So if you swear a lot, she'll be saying, "Oh, he's got problems there." Yeah,
she's listening to the right show, then, isn't she?
Yes, we need you, Heather.
A bit of experience.
But how was Amsterdam, and how is Josh? Did you both have a good time over there? That's the only time I talk to him is on the show. I'm joking. Ray says, and that's is the problem with Leicester City, the way we play. We won the Premier League with 2 strikers up front. We won the Cup with 2 strikers up front. We can't accept what we are.
Yeah. I'd agree. I mean, he doesn't even try it. He tried it against Brighton away, and we scored straight away. I mean, it was a terrible defence against Brighton.
Yeah.
I mean, embarrassing, wasn't it?
Yes.
But we looked good going forward. And that's what we were doing in the early days, looking good going forward. Couldn't defend for toffee. We started to defend and we conceded, 1 in 5 or something ridiculous?
Yes. Yeah.
Now we scored 1 in 3.
We're used to stubborn managers, aren't we? Let's be honest with you. You don't get much more stubborn than Nigel Pearson.
No, but
having said that, I was in my local Audi. It's the one below me, and I bought some ostrich burgers. So we'll see how they go. I did have to dig them up though. That was the only thing. But I've got some. But we know how stubborn he was and how long it took for Mark Albrighton to get into the team in that, in the Great Escape year. Once he did, the change that it made. I
think as a manager, and you say you've done it as well, it's very difficult to make a big change because you think, well, I didn't believe in that 5-10 games ago. If I suddenly tell everybody I was wrong, how does that look? So that's what the stubborn bit comes in. And they say, well, I think this is the best team and this is the best way to play. But hang on, we're losing.
Learn as they go along.
They should.
A manager that says like, I don't like 2 up front, but I had to play 2 up front, Vardy and Inacho at that time because of injuries, and we suddenly went on a winning streak. So maybe I'm big enough to encompass that and welcome that in and accept that like we said before, I've stumbled across this. The best managers, because you can't always get the players you want. We can't all go out and sign Haaland and Grealish and all that. But the best managers make the best of what they've got. And that's why I've actually grown to like Sean Dyche more since he was sacked by Burnley than when he played for Burnley. And he has said he did what he could do with the players he had and could afford to buy. And he said, I looked at the players I'd got and I thought, this is the way I've got to play because that fits their style. And all right, it went wrong in the last one, but, for a few seats, it got them into Europe. And, that is what Brendan Rodgers doesn't seem able to do.
No. And he also can't treat players. I mean, he talks about Sancho as if he's his best friend. We all love him. We want to give him a new contract. Well, why don't you play him? I mean, he don't suddenly go from being top. Sorry, he was in the league side. Was it at the end of the season, the Premier League side? From that to being a second-rate, not even getting on the bench sometimes. It was crazy. Totally. If you're a defender, Chris, and you've got 4 defenders out, you'd expect to get a game, wouldn't you? I mean, Vestergaard would expect a game.
Well, you would when you were being a regular before, I mean, if he's not performing in training and not giving 100% that Rodgers said he wasn't, then he shouldn't even be in the squad. No. But he's making the substitutes bench.
Well, we shouldn't be offering him a new contract, should we?
Well, he's offering him a new contract, I think, because basically we're in the shit when it comes to defenders.
Well, play him then.
yeah, exactly.
I don't get it at all.
You and me, let's have a takeover of the club and we'll run it.
Deep
Andreas, I tell you what, before I come to that, a question I want to ask you, and I accept that when we got rid of, we didn't get rid of Rodgers in the summer, and I think, in fairness to Top, he looked at it and said, well, I wasn't able to back him because of the money. I mean, I think it was all handled badly and what have you. So that's why I don't want to throw him under the bus, which is fine. And he's given him the chance. But do you think he's almost scared to sack him? Because you could argue that he's probably one of the best managers we've had. You know, he's won us the FA Cup. He's got us top 5 twice, and yet his history as a top manager was second for Liverpool, and won it in Scotland when Rangers weren't even in the league half the time. But so do you think he's looking at that thinking like, oh God, I daren't get rid of him because he's Brendan Rodgers?
Well, I think he's a bottler, to be honest. He bowled it at Liverpool. He bowled it twice with us. We should have been in the top 4 both years. The FA Cup, yeah, that was just a Tielemans super strike. We got lucky on the VAR. Also, I think we'd have lost it in extra time. But, yeah, I think he's a bottler. And I don't think he's got a plan B, which we've all talked about for a long time. But you sit there in the stand and you're watching it and you think, why is he not bringing him off and replacing him when he's replacing somebody else that you think, actually, we're not having a bad game? Oh, well, it's tactics. Well, that's easy to say, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we still play the same way. It's not as if in 60 minutes, if it's not going well, he puts 2 or 3 up front.
No, I think I'm not sure what game it was, and he took a defensive midfielder off and put another defensive midfielder on with about 5 minutes to go. Like, I think it was Liverpool possibly. Or let's hold on to our. We're only losing 2-1. Let's hold on to it, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we are Leicester. I don't know that, but we should still be able to punish a lot of these sides. And I think the problem that Man City game really made me angry, but it sums up how we are now mentally. We don't think we're able to deal with these top clubs. We're a Premier team. We shouldn't be defending for 75 odd minutes and hope for a lucky break. It's not going to happen.
No, I mean, Andrea says there Brendan Rodgers needs more respect.
Yeah, the problem is,
yes, in this lovely world that we call football, respect only lasts as long as you're winning something. You've got Claudio Ranieri who came in and the guy that put in Facebook that we need Claudio Ranieri back. I think he got shot down. So I certainly put in there, like, are you sure this is the guy that the season after he won us the league, nearly got us relegated? And we had the worst defence of any team that's ever won the Premier League. And I just think, he won us the Premier League, and you can say whether he was riding on the back of Pearson, but when you get into trouble, you go. Now, we weren't in as much trouble then as we are now, but of course Vichai was in charge then. I just think respect. You've got to earn respect, but the problem is you can lose respect just as quickly, can't you, Dave?
Yeah, and I think Brendan Rodgers did get a lot of respect from the fans when we had 10 injuries. We were struggling to put sides out, let alone anything else. And I think, fortunately, one game, the Spurs game, was cancelled because of COVID. And Tottenham always cancel their games, didn't they? Yes. But I think we only had about 13 fit men. So, and Rodgers got a lot of respect then because we all knew the situation he was in. What I find difficult is when he's got international players that don't even get a sniff when we're struggling in those positions. That's what I find difficult. And when he won't accept that maybe he's got to rethink it about playing 2 up front, about giving Iniacho a chance with Vardy, who scored a lot of goals together.
Yeah, and you also got to look at his transfer policy. When you look at he's brought in Bertrand and Vestergaard. It's
I saw Bertrand in the early couple of games. I thought he was okay, but Southampton mates, those 2 we're glad to get rid of.
Yeah, that is a thing. He did look good in the warm up, in the pre-season game. They were glad to get rid of both of them, but not his finest hour. So he's had the respect, but you've got to earn the respect. And it's all right being the player's friend, the newspaper's friends, whoever's friends, but it's all about making the decision. The buck stops with the manager. He's paid to do that, and when I I say I've been a manager of a sales team, and when I've been called in and said, like, why is it underperforming? If I sit there and say, well, Jack did this and Lucy did that and Bert did the other, and I say, well, what are you doing about it? You can't just blame other people all the time, which Brendan seems to like to do. It's up to Brendan to say, right, well, this player's not working. I need to accept. And quite honest with you, again, as managers, you look at it and you think, like, well, that player's, me, that staff member, I don't like him. He's a bit of a big head, but bloody hell, he can sell. let me take him off this silly little area he's got and give him his go on the big area. You have to do that. That's what being a manager is, and we could talk all day.
The last two managers we gave respect to got us relegated, Peter Taylor and Ian Holloway. And those were, well, Taylor had 1.5 seasons, was it? Or two and a half seasons. He came off the back of a top side, Martin O'Neill's side, and actually totally took it apart. We had Junior Lewis, for Christ's sake. And then Ian Holloway started playing Matt Elliott up front, I think, or he might have even sent Matt Elliott to Ipswich on loan. And he was playing defenders up front and not picking goal scorers. But he still got the respect because what else was there?
I think with Ian Holloway, I did. My son was actually ball boy for one of the games at Burnley when he was in charge, and I think our fate was sealed before Ian Holloway came in, if I'm honest with you. And he wasn't. I mean, he got Blackpool up, so he kind of had a rough end there. But Peter Taylor, oh God, that was the biggest mistake we ever made, isn't it? Yeah. Andreas goes on to say here, what positions do you think we need in? I think
centre half, I think, yeah.
Yeah, a centre half, a left back, certainly, because we've only got Luke Thomas. We haven't got any other options there other than possibly some of the kids coming through. And I'm nothing against playing them against Gillingham. They did well last time against Watford. It was the seniors that couldn't do it against Forest. Right wing, but we seem to be looking at people in all those positions. I'm still think we could do another. I think Daka, for me, Daka came in a season too late. He should have come in a season, or whoever, not necessarily Daka, but that position should have come in a season earlier when Vardy was still doing pretty much okay, so that he could have bedded in, like Soyuncu with Maguire. But I'm still wouldn't mind an up-and-coming striker being brought in, to be honest with you, because Vardy's got one goal this season, but nobody criticises him because it's Jamie Vardy, but he's got one goal. You say, well, he's not getting the balls. Well, you can. He's got to change his game. He's got to change his game. I thought he would do. He's shown enough quality to be able to do almost a Harvey Barnes. Or pick the ball up and then lay it off. And he does make some good goals. He made some good chances against Fulham. So, he can do it. But he needs a striker up there with him. Yeah. Scott says here, what would your preferred formation be if all players are, I think he means fit there, with current squad? Well, I'd do a fucking 4-4-2. I've got to be honest with you. I would have said exactly the same, and that means that I really do have to play this. Ladies and gentlemen, England will be playing 4-4-2. I like 4-4-2. I always have done. And not just because we won the World Cup and all that shit playing that. When I was a coach for my son's team, I used to play them 4-4-2 when I got the chance. I just think there's not many teams play the two up front, but it's worked. It's worked for us. And the pitch ain't big enough to play 2-3-1-4-7 or whatever it is they do. It's only a certain size pitch. You can't have that many formations on it, and I don't understand all that anyway. Because you got Maddison, the best central midfield players, playing number 10,
who plays wide on the right,
Hmm.
or wide on the left. You know, I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
I honestly do not get it.
Scott says here, you both mentioned about Evans earlier being a coach. Do you think he could be Tory's replacement? No, but for me, first of all, because Tory's gone now, and
Think he'll be
Evans,
back.
he's got to get his coach's badges. He's not doing very well as a manager. I don't think we're going to have won under him.
I think Brendan will take him back in a couple of weeks' time.
Probably. But by the time, I would hope by the time that that Johnny Evans is okay for to be a replacement, that we probably by then got rid of Brendan Rodgers.
I think. I mean, aren't they getting Wes Morgan into something like that?
There was talk about it. Yeah. I don't think it ever happened, but they've got to go away. They've got to get their badges. But while they're trying for the badges, why not get them in doing other things around the club? If that's being with the youngsters, Robert Huth, he's now starting to do the loan job. He's just started. This is his first window. He's already looking at a few things. So start them there. Let's have a look here.
We're supposed to be a family, aren't we? Let's make it a family.
Yeah. I don't think we make enough of our past players, to be honest with you. No. I mean, when you have a look who's on the Leicester City commentary team, Jerry Taggart, Matt Elliott, I mean, 2 bloody good, and Steve Walsh, 3 bloody good defenders there, none of which are working for the club in a coaching or advisory capacity. Could we end up losing Iheanacho? I think we could be.
Yeah. Be such a shame. I mean, I must admit, when he first came in, he couldn't hit a barn door, could he? So I wasn't. But the more he's got into the club and the more he's been given a chance, he shows how good he is.
Yes.
I mean, forgetting the goal he scored against Brighton in the cup, but you know, he does actually look impressive, and he looks good holding the ball as well.
He does, and he's got a good touch for a big guy. In fairness, you know.
So I think we should just use him more. He's damn fit, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. We should use him more.
I think we will lose him. Yeah.
Andrea said, "I've seen that Leicester are going to buy Callum Wilson. Is that meant to be? I think." I mean, are we talking about Callum Wilson at Newcastle, who was in the England squad for the World Cup? I don't think he's going to come to Leicester anytime soon. I can't.
He got more game time than Maddison, didn't he?
Yeah, yes. And I think he would like to get Chris Wood back than Callum Wilson. So no, I don't think we will be in for him.
Chris Wood, I forgot he was with us. Yeah.
Yeah. We need more money to spend. Yes, we do, but we've also got to be realistic that we have to consider FFP. But I think Top's got to realise now that we're not going to get into Europe, so it doesn't matter about FFP at the moment, which is the one he was concerned about.
Yeah, you know what, Chris? Do you reckon Top's saying all this because he thinks, I'm not sure I can trust him with any more money? He's made some of these signings, so he's not playing. There's a lot of money invested in that team, in that squad. He's not playing 2 of the last winter's signing, wasn't it? Last January window. Bertrand and Bertrand's not played for what, 18 months or more?
No,
well, I mean, forgetting that's unlucky. But
yeah, you think that's the thing. I mean, I don't think he can be trusted with with sales. We hadn't in the summer got a transfer director. I can't think of his proper title. We have now. So he'll hopefully be saying, like, you tell me what you want, Brendan, and I'll find them. We waited all that time for him. We've now got him, so he should be bloody good, hopefully. If we don't trust him, then we should be getting rid of him, surely.
And we've gone against our policy as well, where we sold a top player every year and bought 4 or 5 youngsters coming through. I mean,
I think, in fairness, they did expect Tielemans to leave last summer.
Well, did they have offers? I don't know. Does anybody want them?
Do you think any manager recently, and I'm only saying since Pearson, because he was in charge since we went up, but there hasn't been, or has there been, that natural, well, he's getting old, let him go, replace him with this person. Do you know that conveyor belt?
No, we haven't. We've gone against our policy. Leicester can only afford to buy if they sell until we get a 45,000 stadium or something like that, because they can't put any more money in. I mean, they've obviously got money. They're billionaires. The family are billionaires, so they've got the money, but they're not allowed to. How the hell Man City have got away with it, and clubs like that is beyond me. Man City, what, they must get 60,000, 65,000 each week.
Yeah.
So that's what pays for it on the paper. But we used to be able to do that. We can't now. We haven't got the quality of selection. You know, we can't get rid of Tielemans for 60 million and buy 5 top players, 3 of which will get in the first team.
Do you think Tielemans has kind of snuck his finger at Leicester by doing that?
I don't know. I think he's shot himself in the foot a little bit, because apparently, I don't know how true it is, because you read so much rubbish, don't you?
Yeah.
But his wage demands have put Arsenal off him. Nobody's going to pay him a fantastic amount of money, because although he's an international and he's a quality Premier League player, he's not one of the best in Europe.
No, and I think you've got
to
look as well as when he was being hailed as being so good, he was in a side that was finishing 5th in the Premier League. He was in a Belgium side that was the 2nd best in the world. He's now in a bottom half team that's 2 points off relegation in the Premier League, and he's in a Belgium team that absolutely failed miserably at the World Cup.
So that was my bet, wasn't it? That was I said Belgium would win it.
But yeah, you did. So did Brad. Just throw that one in there. But yeah. I know. I mean, when you look, and I'm going to compare it to Maguire, because I totally respect Maguire for this. You know, he knew that Man United wanted him. He wanted to go to Man United, but he knew his contract was up with Leicester. So, he came to Leicester allegedly and said, "Look, I want to go, but my contract's coming up. I don't want you to lose out, because you saved me by getting me from, Hull when we got relegated. I'll sign a new contract, stick some sort of conditions in there, but at least you'll get some money for me." Now, why couldn't Tielemans just do that?
Don't know. Maybe he thinks it's wrong. At least he's playing well. He's not done a Mahrez and Salt.
No.
And he was. I think he was man of the match against Fulham, wasn't it? He must have been close.
He has given us. He has still committed to playing well, and he gives everything. Yeah. But we are going to be losing nigh on £40 million when he goes. Now, okay, we lost 30 million on Slimani, but I just think Tielemans could do more for Leicester, to be honest with you.
Maybe maybe he wants to pay off. I mean, he's going to pick up a few million, isn't he? If there's no transfer fee.
Yes, yeah, there is that
security for life for his family.
Yeah,
I think sometimes we get a bit too overpassionate about what it means to play for your club. I mean, we play for nothing. In fact, we probably pay to play. But for these guys, although they beat the chest and throw the badge about, it's just a job.
Yeah, that's a
very enjoyable job, but it's just a job.
No, that is a fair point.
And in 10 years' time, Tielemans will be over the top.
Yeah, you've got to make your money while he's there. There's still a hell of a lot of rumours going around that he may just be signing a new contract. I can't see it, can you?
Oh, I'd love it if he did. I mean, wouldn't that stick it up to a lot of people?
Yes. Arsenal.
Yeah. You're talking about Arsenal, you missed that guy that had Mahrez's name put on his shirt at Arsenal. I never forget seeing that.
Yes.
So a mate of mine's a Gunners fan, and he said, "Look, Mahrez is coming up. They're printing the shirts already." Yeah, right.
No, I saw a Photoshop today of Tielemans in an Arsenal shirt. It just makes me laugh. Like I say, by all means, say he's a great player. We'd love these players at our club, but don't do he's here, he's ours already. If he was yours, Arsenal, then he would have he would have.
He'd be there by now, wouldn't he?
He'd be there by now. And if Newcastle, if he was yours or you want him, just come in and put an offer in for him.
Yeah.
You haven't, so
perhaps we should get some shirts printed with Alan Shearer number 9 on the back. See if that works, magic.
I'm going to put Alan Young on the back of mine and see.
How is he? Do you know?
I haven't seen him for ages. I don't think his health was so good. I haven't spoken to him for ages. I don't think his health is as good as it was, unfortunately. But we send out our best wishes to him.
Indeed, we do. Indeed.
Mate, thank you so much. Welcome back. Fingers crossed tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's your neck of the woods, isn't it?
Well, no, I mean Bognor now, and Gillingham's sort of it's out there, and it's or Kent or something like that.
It's the southeast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that way. Yeah,
exactly. Closer than Leicester to you.
Yeah. I was going to say I can't wait for the Bournemouth game, but I think I'm in Australia when that's on. So.
Well, to be honest with you, I couldn't get. I've always gone for the Leicester Bournemouth, and for this time I just could not get a ticket. It really, and I wasn't going to sit with the Bournemouth fans again. But anyway, mate, thank you so much. Just give everybody a shout out because you are on the radio where people can listen to you.
Yeah, surreyhillsradio.co.uk. So many different types of presenters, so much different music, just suits everybody. And we're soon to get, with a bit of luck, in a couple of 3 months, a new breakfast show host. So we'll let you know about that when it gets a bit closer.
Don't say too much, but no. And the link is in the description below on YouTube to that as well. Just search surreyhillradios.co.uk and you will bring it up. Harry, I did it! No, did it! Oh, I've done so well.
I told you, Brad. I told you we'd do it, mate.
Oh God. No. 1 hour, 7 minutes, 19 seconds into the show, and I hadn't done it. Oh, I'll edit that bit out. Don't worry, I'll edit it out.
I got you all unnecessary.
I know. You took my mind off the ball there.
You take care, pal.
You as well. Soon. All the best. Speak to you soon,
mate. Yeah, bye. Bye, guys.
Cheers. Do get on to that, sunnyhillsradio.co.uk. Do have a listen. Harry wakes you up. Harry, I've done it again. I've done it again too. Dave, look, I've got this. I've got this. I've got that, and I still did it twice. Dave wakes you up every morning. So if you fancy getting up with a bit of Dave, surreyhillsradio.co.uk is the place to find him, and it is Dave. It isn't the other name that I keep mentioning. I'm so proud of myself as well. Doug, I'll message you afterwards, mate. Not a problem at all. And tell them to postpone the game by an hour. 5:30 is too early for me, mate. I don't think we'll miss much. Big up Chris, was that Jim Davidson? He's been called worse. Oh, don't get me on a third name for him anyway, But hey, we are going to be back tomorrow, and we will be back tomorrow with this.
Coming up next on Leicester Till I Die TV.
Join me at 12 o'clock. We're going to be doing the live watch-along. It is on the BBC, but we're going to do the live watch-along from 12 o'clock. Please join us. Get in the chat. Have a laugh and a joke. It's a bit like being down the pub with your mates, but at least you can see the telly. Just to say a couple of big thank yous. Thank you to everybody who downloaded the podcast last year. 42,172 downloads. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable, Jeff. But I just my head doesn't compute that at all. My head doesn't compute that. So thank you very much to everybody who downloaded that. And don't forget, coming up soon, it's the brand new quiz show, Who Wants to Be a Football Heir? That will be starting within the few weeks. So thank you very much. Thank you to everybody that is in the chat. I will give you a message, Doug, but thank you to everybody who's joined in. As always, thanks to Harry. This has been Question Time. It's the show where you set the agenda and you decide what we talk about. And don't forget, if you are new, as Scott has just said there, if you are new, please subscribe. We are heading for the 1.66. I think we're about 2 off that. And if you are subscribed, please smash that like button. It does help the channel, and it gets us seen in places where we wouldn't normally be seen. I'm not sure if I want to be seen in a couple of them, but hey-ho. Thanks very much. I'll see you tomorrow at 12. Take care. Thanks very much. All the best now. Good night.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all